Okay, guys, this will be part two. Generally, part two of algebra. I think this is taken from Kaohsiung. It's a September paper from Kaohsiung, and I think it's 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Right, let's start. It says, given f of x is equal to this whole nonsense, solve for f of x. Solve for x. Questions like this is quite simple to deal with, right? They said x is an integer, so it's fine. We can deal with it as an integer, but again, you do not need to go and open up those brackets. It does not matter because it's factorized and f of x equals to 0. What that means is you and I can deal with this quite simply. It's already factorized and it's easy to deal with. So this is x squared minus 3 equals to 0. You'll take each part out and you'll make it equal to 0. And yeah, we'll be able to solve this. So let's start with you. Actually, I want to write this on the side just because it's working out that I'm going to use for all, right? This, if I make it, it's x equals to minus 2. This one would be 3x equals to positive 1. X equals to 1 over 3. This is x squared equals to 3, and then x equals to root 3. Now, guys, if we look at this question, it's quite simple to deal with because they asked us, where is x an integer? Only place we're going to get x as an integer is x equals to minus 2. That's a whole number. This is the integer that we get to deal with. You would have got full marks if you just gave the answer because I would have looked at it and say, hey, this is the only integer that we have. But the next one is x is a rational number. Now, guys, the only one that's rational, remember, rational is something that you can calculate in your head, but it's also something that's either just recurring or just a whole number. So if you end up with something like this, 0,33333 forever, that's rational. We can comprehend this. But if you ended up with something like 0,67891234, all random numbers, this is irrational. That's not something that you and I can calculate without a calculator. So generally, even if you don't remember what a rational number is, if you can calculate it in your head, most likely it's rational. If you need a calculator specifically, yeah, most likely we're in a bit of trouble, but it's the same. The next one is they want x as a real number. All of these are real numbers. The only one that you might see, if it's not a real number, is sometimes you might have something that's a complex number, like a I. And if we get that I, most likely we messed up. But for now, all of these are real numbers. So we solve for x once, and thereafter, we just write on the answers. Okay, solve for x here. Guys, the moment you see two decimal places, please understand this is just the minus b formula. We'll be doing all of the level 1, 2, and 3 work. I think the level 4 work we'll put in a separate part just to deal with. Now we're trying to get up to 70 to 80%. If we label with this, this would be a equals to minus 15, b equals to minus 9, and c equals to 4. If I just substitute this is minus, please don't forget this is minus into minus 9, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is minus 9 squared, minus 4, into a, which is minus 15, and c, which is 4. Remember the square root goes all over. All over 2 into a. Now, if you have the silver calculator or white calculator, it's fine. Quite simple to deal with. You'll be able to get the answer really easy. X equals to minus 0.90 or x equals to 0.30. Now the next one is a bit tricky because whenever you see this part in question one, so again, if you see question one or question one, and if you see this parts, this greater than, less than, equal to, all of this here, you're in a little bit of trouble. And what that means is you need to draw a graph or you need a number line. So let's deal with it, right? So it's a graph, interval notation, or a number line, right? So we're going to go with this. If I solve this, remember when you have square of a bracket, do not go and try and square each term. Open up the brackets and do FOIL. I know the younger kids have something called SMS that they deal with. I just prefer FOIL. I'm not gonna lie. But you guys can use any method that you want. It doesn't matter, right? It's whatever works for you, right? Ooh, that's not 0, that's 3x. If we simplify this, we end up with 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Let's take the 3x over. If I take the 3x over, it's going to become minus 3x. So that's 9x squared minus 15x plus 4 greater than or equal to 0. Now, guys, what we can do with questions like this is use the minus b formula. You can solve it normally if you want to. It doesn't matter. So whatever you prefer. We just did the minus b formula, so I am going to skip that. But we will end up with critical points as x equals to 1 over 3, x equals to 4 over 3. Now you and I can go and choose to do interval notation, or we can draw a sketch. I prefer the sketch of the parabola because it is simpler to deal with. That's 1 over 3. And this should be 4 over 3 should be 1 and 1/3, but it's fine. And you can draw a rough sketch, and you would get away with this one, right? Quite simple, but if you don't want that, we need to know that x is going to be less than or equal to 1 over 3. X has to be greater than or equal to 4 over 3. And that's all there is to this question. The next one. The next one is generally not too bad to deal with, but it can be complicated. Distribute first. Distribute as much as you can, and then we'll work with it. So this is going to be 5 to the x equals 2. I can go with 5 to the 4. No, nonsense. 5 times 4 is 20, actually. That's better. Plus 5 times 5 to the 2 minus x. Now, questions like this, sometimes it just becomes a little bit difficult. Sometimes it's easy to deal with as well, but this is 5 to the 1. Okay, so if we deal with questions like this, you and I need to figure out what method are we using? Are we going to use case substitution? Are we going to use different methods? But for now, let's deal with the algebra law 1. Guys, I'll try and make this as easy as possible. But algebra law 1 states when you multiply the bases, when you multiply something with the same base, we're going to add the powers. So 7 plus 2 is 9, right? This y got nothing to do with the question. Just a reminder of what algebra law 1 was. Okay. Now, if we deal with this properly, 1 plus 2 is 3. So that's 20 plus 5 to the 3. All right. And this is multiplied. Should I do that? Let me try and make it easier, right? 5 to the 3 minus x. Now, the minus x might be a little bit of a problem. to deal with. So let's try and break this up. Okay. So 5 to the 3 multiplied by 5 to the minus x, right? If you guys don't understand that, let's try and do this. Let's try and break this up so you guys can see what this is. 5 to the 1 multiplied by 5 to the 2 multiplied by 5 to the minus x. You see, these two are easy to deal with, right? These two are easy to deal with, so that's 5 to the 3. And this is the negative law. Remember, when we have a negative exponent, most likely it's in the wrong place. So we have to put it to the bottom. So now we end up with 5 to the x equals to 20 plus 5 to the 3 over 5 to the x. Now guys, this is not fun to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say let 5 to the x equal to k for Keegan. We're going to go with this as k equals to 20 plus 5 to the 3 over k. And we need to start to solve, right? Solving this is quite easy. I don't think I gave myself enough space, but guys, just bear with me. Let's see if I can get this one right. Let's see if I can get some space here. Okay, I got space. Now, the fact that I got k, please remember that we're going to multiply by k, and we end up with k squared equals to 20k plus 125, because 5 cubed is 125. If we deal with this quite simply, k squared minus 20k minus 125. I don't need you to simplify and divide by all of the stuff. It's fine. It's easy to deal with. From this step, we're gonna write somewhere here. I hope they give you more space, but use the minus b formula. Guys, you can see how important this minus b formula is. A equals to 1, b equals to minus 20, c equals to minus 125, and solve it. So when we solve it, we get k equals to 5. No, we get k equals 2. If I'm not mistaken, let me solve it quickly. K equals to minus 5. Or k, I ran out of space again. K equals to minus 5. Or k equals to. Okay, cool. So k equals to minus 5 or k equals to 25. Now guys, we can go and replace k with what it was, right? We can replace k with 5 to the x equals to minus 5. To be honest, I do think this is impossible. I don't think I'm able to get that. If I use, let me just double check log base answer. That's an error. So that's impossible. That one doesn't work out. But this one does. 5 to the x equals to 25. Therefore, 5 to the x equals 5 to the 2. Cancel, cancel. X equals to 2. So I don't think this was level 4. I do think maybe it's a level 3 question. It's not too difficult. But the next one generally is not very fun to deal with. Okay, guys. This question, the simultaneous that's here, it looks like it's level 4, but it's not. It's something that's very simple to deal with. But they did confuse most of you at logs. So, you know, when it comes to caps, you guys don't do a full section on logs. It's only in finance and maybe a little bit here and there for functions. But IEB focuses a lot on logs. So, guys, if you had 2 to the x equals to 8, technically, you would do shift fact 2 to the x equals to 2 to the 3, cancel, cancel, x equals to 3. We know that. But also, if we add 2 to the x equals to 8, we could use logs. So we could say log base answer equals to power. Okay? And when we deal with this, it's quite simple because log, the base is the one that's touching x, which is 2. The answer is obviously the one on the answer side, and that's equal to the power, x. And this is mostly for exponential graphs, but we can also work backwards because if you know this log base, that means my 2 is the base. So it means my x is the base. Log base answer. So answer is equal to 16. So my answer is equal to 8. Is equal to the power x. So that means it's equal to the power 4. Because I know this is log base answer equals to power. And when you start to deal with it, we'll say, okay, x is the base, 4 is the power, and 16 is the answer. Now, guys, even without dealing with this, we can solve for x quite simply. Look at this. X is equal to the 4th root of 16. So x is equal to 2. And realistically, I mean, if you substituted this into this value, we would be able, let me write up the formula first, right? We would be able to solve this quite simply. X is greater than or equal to 0, that's fine. This is root 2 plus 7 equals to 2 plus 1. Guys, I'll simplify. 2 plus 7 is 9, root 9 is 3. So this is y plus 3 equals to, this would be 3 as well. Okay, cool. So this one is tricky, right? We need to watch out because there is one part that you would get caught with. Let me remove this nonsense. Remember, whenever you're dealing with a plus or minus root, or if you're dealing with anything in general, root is always plus or minus. So you just need to remember that it's plus or minus, but let me try and not complicate this for you guys, right? See, this root is very simple. We know the answer is plus 3, right? We know that, but guys, just as a quick recap, remember if you had 2 squared, the answer is 4. If you had minus 2 squared, the answer is still 4. So when I square root 4, what's my answer? It's 2. How do I know which 2 it is? I don't. That's why I get plus or minus. So just remember that that's y plus 3 equals to 3, right? That's on one side. But don't forget that this is also a minus. So y minus 3 equals to 3. And we can deal with this quite simply, right? Y equals to 0 or y equals to 6. The only problem I have is do not forget, when there's a root, test your answer. So whenever you see there's a root in your question, test your answer. When I mean test the answer, I'm saying take the 0. Take the 0 and put it back here and see if it works out. So if I take the 0 and put it back there, just to double check, guys, oh, I don't even have to put it there. I could put it there. Double check it, right? If I put, let me just show you guys how to double check because you guys, maybe there's going to be a problem. If I put the 0 back there, 0 plus root 9 is 3 equals to 3. Oh, that works out. If I put the 6 there, 6 plus root 9 is 3. Does it fully work out? Sometimes no. But I do understand that we could get confused. But always double check the answer. Double check to see if everything works out. Generally, I would reject y equals to 6. But again, it's up to you guys to learn about the roots. But these questions, we can test, right? We can do a little bit more like this. But for now, out of 6 marks, 5 of it should be easily obtainable. The rejection part, if it wasn't this specific example, I think in the next papers, you guys would start to understand a bit more. But again, this is just an exam lesson. I'm answering the question. We'll do a teaching lesson where you guys are able to go and learn how to deal with all of this. The next one is most likely it's a nature of root question. And when it comes to nature of root, please understand that the discriminants equal to b squared minus 4ac. It's easy to deal with. They want a perfect square. If they want a perfect square, that means, if I'm not mistaken, they want a rational. They're trying to tell you that, hey, this is rational. That's just from my mind. It's rational. So what we're going to deal with is, I would like to distribute. I think it's easier for me to deal with. So that's x squared plus 2px plus 7p plus 8. Now, again, questions like this look like it's difficult, but this is just your constant. That's just your constants. It's easy to deal with. Okay. So let's deal here. That's C, that's B, and that's A. Okay, let's deal with it. So if I go with discriminant, remember guys, A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2p, and C is equal to 7p plus 8. So this equals to, discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. B is 2p squared minus 4 into A into C. Right? And we can deal with this quite simply because, ooh, guess, B, A, okay, cool. We can deal with this quite simply. Sometimes it looks like it's complicated, but it's not. 4p squared. This would be minus 4 into 7p plus 8. And that's all there is to this question. We'll continue now. Okay, guys, and if we continue and we solve from here, this would be 0 equals to 4p squared minus 28p minus 32. Very easy to solve from here. This would be the minus b formula. Do not stress and panic for stuff like this because it's quite simple. After you use the minus b formula, you would see that p equals to 8 or p equals to minus 1. And that's all there is to this question. Okay, guys, the next paper was taken from Free State. It's taken from 2025 and it's a September paper as well. Let's deal with it in general. The first question is level 1, quite simple, 3 marks. This will be x squared plus 3x equals to 28. Please do not go and try and say x equals to 28 and x plus 3 equals to 28. That does not work. You can only equate them if it's equal to 0 when it's fully factorized, but this is not. So you do need to bring the 28 over, and now that it's equal to 0, it's very simple to deal with because now you can go and factorize it, but we could use the minus b formula. You could use whatever you want to use, but I think the truth is A, B, and C. I'm not going to do the minus b formula because you guys are okay with that. We did quite a few, but that equals to 4 as well, right? The next one, the moment you see 2 decimal places, it's the minus b formula. Done. You know, it's the funny thing is that questions like this, you might lose a mark actually. Yeah, you might lose a mark here because maybe they want the factors. So just make sure to give the factor. Remember to put your answers the opposite in the brackets, or if you do know how to factorize, just factorize properly. But if you don't, that's fine as well. I mean, generally, just use the minus b formula and you should be good. But in this question, you would have got 1 mark for the factors. So when you use the minus b formula, just generally put the factors as well. This question as well is the minus b formula, ABC. A equals to 2, B equals to 7, C equals to minus 1. Use the minus b formula, substitute. And the answer, let me just do this one, right? Minus b plus minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And if I substitute, x is equal to minus 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 into a into c all over 2 into a. Now, guys, you have to understand, if you're using this formula, you need to put plus first and then minus, or either one, but you're going to have two answers, 0.14 and x equals to minus 3.64. Now, also double check your answers. Sorry, guys. If you have the silver white calculator, the 991 calculator, you can press mode equation and 3 and solve it quite simply. And yeah, that's it. Now, this one is equal to 0, so it's simple to deal with. X plus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. 5 minus x is greater than or equal to 0, and let's solve it. X is greater than or equal to minus 4, right? So we'll deal with that one. Thereafter, this one's a bit tricky. So this is minus x is greater than or equal to minus 5. And then I divide by minus 1, divide by minus 1, and x, we change the sign, is less than or equal to positive 5. Now you can go and write the interval notation. X is greater than or equal to negative 4, or less than or equal to 5. Or you can go and draw a diagram, right? There's negative 4. There's 5, and you can go here, right? Can go there. But understand it'll be this part here that matters. It's this parts that matter. But other than that, we're not too fussy with this, right? You can use the interval notation or the graph. You would get the marks as well. The critical values, these values are really important. You get 1, 2, 3. The next one, the moment you see a square root, please understand you need to double check your answers. You need to test answers. Oh, just don't forget that square roots mean testing answers. You need to test. But other than that, it's fine. So let's start to solve, right? If I start, I'll take the minus 3 over, it becomes plus 3. So I end up with x plus 4. I got x plus 4. And on this side, I got 2 root x plus 4. Now, guys, parts like this, maybe it seems difficult, maybe it's not. But to get rid of a square root, I would square both sides. And when I square both sides, this side ends up as FOIL. But this side, 2 squared is 4. And thereafter, a root squared cancels out. So I end up with that. From here, generally, it is level 1. So distribute as much as you can. That's 4x plus 16. This should equal to x squared plus 8x plus 16. Simplify if you want to. That one cancels out. 4x cancels out. X squared plus 4x equals to 0. Guys, with this part, realistically, you can go and use the minus b formula if you wanted to. A would be equal to 1. B would be equal to 4. C would be equal to 0 if you don't know how to factorize this. Or you can take out a common factor of x. X plus 4. Both of this is equal to 0, so we can solve this as x equals to 0. Or x plus 4 equals to 0. Therefore, x equals to minus 4. And this would be the two answers. The next question generally is simultaneous. Quite simple. Equation 1, equation 2. So, let's make equation 3. Y equals to minus 7 plus x. That's equation 3. Guys, because you used equation 1 for equation 3, you're going to sub 3 into 2. And then let's solve this. We get x squared plus 3x into y equals to 2 minus 27. The y value was minus 7 plus x. And generally, we would just simplify and solve. If we simplify, distribute here, so we end up with x squared minus 21x plus 3x squared. Let's take the 27 over one time, right? Plus 27 equals to 0. Guys, I just took this over one time as plus. If we simplify again, we end up with 4x squared minus 21x plus 27 equals to 0. When you use the minus b formula for this and factorize, you're going to end up with x equals to 3 or x equals to 9 over 4. As long as you're not getting very funny decimals, it's okay. I specifically only substitute back into equation 3. So, I mean, generally, it's the same thing, or minus 7 plus x. All you have to do is substitute back into equation 3, and this would be the answer. So y equals to minus 7 plus 3. So y equals to minus 4. And then y equals to minus 7 plus 9 over 4. So y equals to whatever this is, I think minus 19 over 4. And that's all there is to this simultaneous equation. And the last one generally is not a fun question, okay? I don't think it's too difficult, but I do think it's a nonsense question. So you and I, we can work with it. So this is where we're going to use prime factors, prime numbers. So we're looking for 2, 3, 5, 7. Let's stop at 7. Those are the numbers we're looking for. We're not looking for anything else. We generally don't need anything else. But let's start, right? I'll deal with it separately. 10 to the power of n equals 2 to the power of n times 5 to the power of n. Right? It equals to 2 times 5 to the power of n. But this equals to 2 to the n times 5 to the n. Right? If we deal with the next one, 2 to the n plus 2. This generally equals to 2 to the n multiplied by 2 to the 2. 5 to the 2n is fine. And this is plus 4 would be, 4 is a problem, right? 5 to the 2n is okay. I'm okay with that. But 4 needs to equal to 2 to the 2. Okay? So now let's forget about the square root, right? We're not leaving it out completely. We're just forgetting about it for a little bit. So this is 2 to the n multiplied by 5 to the n plus 2 to the n multiplied by 2 to the 2. All over 5 to the 2n plus 2 to the 2 multiplied by 5 to the n. Now let's see what we can do, right? Because realistically, we didn't forget about the square root. It's still there. We know there's a square root of to the power to n, or to the n square root, but let's take out 2 to the n as a common factor. And we're left with 5 to the n multiplied by 2 squared. Now on the bottom, let's take out 5 to the n as a common factor. This is not multiplied, this is plus, guys. We'll take out 5 to the n, and we're left with 5 to the n plus 2 to the 2. Right, because I'm taking out one of the n's. Now guys, this cancels out. We can see that it cancels out, right? And we're left with 2 to the n over 5 to the n. Now guys, when we have the exact same power, we can go and say this is 2 over 5 to the power of n. Now let's not forget that we had this entire nonsense rooted by n. And now the square root and the square root and the power cancels out, and imagine this entire thing just equals to 2 over 5. But that's all there is to this question.
Egan, stop, you're muted.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Let's retry. The next one is taken from Eastern Cape, September 2025. Too much of job to edit that out, so that's one of my students. It's not like a lot of people saw this video, so it's fine. But maybe it should be famous. But now, solve for x, guys. Remember, this is quite a simple question. And we noticed from the other side that whenever they give you this and they don't want it in two decimal places, you get a mark for the factors. So even if you can't factorize and you're using the minus b formula, that's fine, guys. Go for it. There's no rule saying you can't use it. But I mean, you're going to end up with two answers, x equals to minus 3 and x equals to 1. Just put the opposite in the brackets. But in this question, they were kind enough to give you all the they were kind enough to actually give you all the marks if you substituted the minus b formula correctly. So you would have got 4 marks, 3 marks. So make sure to always sub, even though you guys are going to use the silver calculator and cheat a bit there, but it's fine. I mean, but factorize properly, solve. Let's get the marks. The next one is the same thing. A was equal to 3. This one, they specifically want the minus b formula, and they want 2 decimal places. So this is minus b plus minus square root, right? Substitute properly, and your answers, x would be equal to 2.76, or x would be equal to 0.24. Okay. Now, the next one, the moment you see this, we understand it's a graph, or it's a number line, or it's an interval notation. But for now, most of the marks would come from simplifying. So where you can simplify, please simplify. Should I not? Should I? Okay, cool. Let's move the x to the positive side. X squared minus 6x plus 9 greater than 0. Simplify this. Use the minus b formula again if you want to, but you're going to end up with x equals to just 3. Now, the thing is, x equals to 3 is a little bit of an iffy one, right? Because that's a critical value. But how do we solve this? Or how do we deal with the critical value of x equals to 3? So to draw the graph, you would put 3 there, and most likely x is only touching 1 point there. So that's what the graph would look like. Otherwise, you would need to know that x is an element, real numbers, but x can't be equal to 3 on that part, because that's the only part it's touching. But the next one, quite simply, is the moment you see a root, remember, we test. We have to test to see if the answers work or if they don't work, right? Now, quite simply, let's take 1 plus there. Let's take that. Okay. Now, let's deal with this part. This one seems like it's difficult, but the best way to get rid of this is to square both sides. And when you square both sides, 80 is iffy, guys. It's going to be difficult to deal with. But if you remember calculus, that's just half. There's no need to panic, right? I'm going to change it to x to the half because it's easier for me to deal with. But if you guys don't want to, or if you want to leave it as a root, I'm generally fine with it. I got no problem with it. This question didn't say solve without a calculator, did it? No, it didn't, so it's fine. I just prefer the half because it looks better to me. But if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. So that's 1. That's plus x to the half plus x to the half. And that's plus x to the 1. Guys, remember x to the half times x to the half is half plus half is 1. Do not let stuff like this confuse you guys. Power, it's going to be half plus half is 1. These are my like terms. So this is going to be 1 plus 2x to the half plus x to the 1. And that equals 2x plus 5. Now guys, realistically, if you move this one over as plus 1, it's going to be minus 1. If you move this over as plus x, it's minus x. We're going to see that the x cancels out. When you move it over, you're going to understand that plus and minus is going to cancel out. And we're going to end up with 4 equals to 2x to the half. Now, there was multiple ways we could have dealt with this. You don't need to panic. Divide by 2, divide by 2. That equals to 2 equals to x to the half. I don't want to deal with this like this way, so I'm going to root this by x to the half. I'm going to root that by half. And then, yeah, x equals to 4. The next one, in terms of simultaneous, quite simple to deal with. Let's try and make a nice equation, right? That's equation 1. That's equation 2. The algebra is going to mess up a lot of people, yeah, realistically. So, double check, right? Including myself. So this equation 3 would be y equals 2. That would be plus 1 minus 2x, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, cool. Right, that's equation 3. Now I'm going to sub 3 into 2. Now I don't think this is level 4. Generally, it's not. The problem is there's too much of calculations. And now you and I are stuck calculating, especially the fact that it's even going to this side. And now we can make mistakes quite simply. So please, 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 please double check. That's 1 minus 2x, 1 minus 2x, and 1 minus 2x. There's no problem with doing baby math over and over again and double checking, because see, even this, I would open it up with FOIL just so I don't make a mistake, because I can look at this and I just know most likely I'm going to make a mistake. So that's 1 minus, that's minus 2x, and that's plus 4x squared. So this is going to be 1 minus 4x plus 4x squared. I'm worried about the next parts. Let's deal with this one. I'm just going to deal with this if I distribute properly. If I distribute properly here, most likely I'm going to end up with minus 2 plus 4x. Okay? I'm going to, the rest I didn't do anything with, right? So that's minus 3x plus 1 equals 2. Let's distribute properly here. That there is 3x, and that's minus 6x squared. And then this one I didn't do anything. Guys, I'm alternating colors just to show you guys what I calculated with and what's just lying there. But it's fine. Let's start to distribute. Realistically, I don't think this is a fun question. Normally I would deal with this quite simply. But I'm not going to. I'm gonna move everything over. Ooh, you see, guys? This one here is square. So double check, right? minus 2 plus 4x minus 3x plus 1. Let's move everything over, right? That's minus 3x. That's plus 6x squared. That's plus 2x squared equals to 0. Guys, let's start. Let's go with 1, 2, 3. These are like terms. That's 10, that's 12. Yeah. Okay. That's 12x squared. Let's go with the next one. Let's go with the x's. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's minus 4 plus 4 cancels out. Minus 3 is minus 6. So that's minus 6x. And then, 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, cool. So all of that nonsense equals to this, right? Now, what we can do, quite simply, is either use the minus b formula, and even though there's no c value, a would be equal to 12, b would be equal to minus 6, and c would be equal to 0, and then solve it. Or you can take out 6x as a common factor, and you're just left with 2x minus 1, and that equals to 0. So 6x equals to 0, 2x minus 1 equals to 0, x equals to 0, or x equals to half. Right? If we deal with this part, remember, substitute straight into the y. Sorry, English is not Englishing. Substitute straight into the y, into the third equation. And it makes things easier for us. Instead of looking for which equation is simpler, the third one. Y equals to that value, and then y equals to 1. Or y equals to that value, and y equals to 0. And that's all there is to this question. Now, the next question, you and I are going to come back to in the level 4. This thing, I'm going to make a note that this is level 4. Only in understanding, not really in calculation. I got a note of it as in this thing. I'm going to make one video with just straight level 4 questions, just so you guys have some practice. This is Eastern Cape 2025, and this would be 1.3. So I'm going to try and do all of the parts that get you guys up to 80% first, and then we'll start to work on level 4 questions. But okay. That's the end of this part.